And we are back on this lovely edition of the Doing All Right podcast. Draft edition. Let me tell you something, man. If y'all thought we was going to come up here and talk about Jadon Blue 60 yards, boy, you got us mistaken, boy. We will talk about Flus when he gets fired, whether it be a Tuesday or a Wednesday. If it's an emergency situation, some breaking news, we'll figure out a way to navigate it, here at Crown. We're not going to overthink it. But for the most part, this will be a draft, a full-blown draft situation, how this goes here.
Right.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday are your more than likely draft days. The Cowboys. Bryan is doing the stack with Aisha and Zach on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So y'all be sure to tap in with that. But we'll be doing draft all the time here. We'll either pick Tuesday or Thursday to be the Q&A days because we know that y'all want to ask us stuff. So be tuned in for that. But right now we are full-blown draft. So let's jump into it, Bryan.
Yep.
I said I wasn't going to talk about Cowboys. Let me say this, Bryan. I think I have to say this. You lose to the Giants.
Yeah.
You could have been 18th overall.
Sure.
You could have been 17th overall in the draft, Bryan.
Sure.
Hey, man, they work hard to win over there. You know what I'm saying? They put their best foot forward. They working towards the momentum. But, Bryan, I feel real good drafting at 12.
Yeah, I do too.
As opposed to drafting at 18. I think by the time this process is done, as of now, I got 15 first-round grades, and that could be 14.
Yeah.
What's yours?
I'm right at 15 with you, and that's without the quarterbacks.
That's without quarterbacks.
Without the quarterbacks. So that might be a couple involved. I did hear you on your post-game show last night, you and Jeff and Jesse, where you were walking them through and and talking about the difference between and where your grades are going to fall.
Yes, sir.
It's always a good feeling when you can get inside that window of you wish that the window was a little bit broader to maybe carry to 20 where Green Bay's sitting. Yeah. But right now you have to be really happy with the 12th overall pick. I'll say this about yesterday's game, and I went back and watched it, and I will say this though, I was happy the way that Blue ran the ball. Blue could have scored on the very first play of the game they handed to him.
Yeah.
He goes stumbling through there and had the opportunity. But I'll say this, even with Dak Prescott playing in that game, if he'd have played that full game, the Cowboys defense had no answer really for the Giants in that football game. Yeah. And especially like in the second half and the way that they were able, the Giants, and they were able to convert on third downs. If Dallas had to win that game to get into the playoffs, that would have been a tough game for them to have to win, especially with the way the defense was playing.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's the unfortunate thing that you were that bad, but you were that bad on defense, and now you and I and others get to navigate this draft with two quality picks.
Sure. At
12 and also at 20, or as we sit right now.
Just for clarity, Bryan, some people are curious what we mean by first-round grades. Like, why don't y'all have 32 first-round grades?
Yeah.
My idea of a first-round graded player is a player that'll be a bona fide top 15 type dude no matter what season it is, right? No matter what draft haul comes through, they're a bona fide you're a first round, you're a top 15 type guy every single year. That doesn't mean that guys won't go in the first round, right? I could have a second round graded player. We'll get to him. C.J. Allen, my linebacker from Georgia.
Sure.
He's more than likely gonna be a second round grade on my board. That's why I got him now.
Yeah.
Somebody could take him at 25. Right. It's just that when we talk about the top tier dudes on my board this year, it's only 15 of them.
Right.
I think last year I may have had like 14 or something like that.
Sure.
Why is this important? Because if there's 15 dudes I absolutely love, Bryan, and I'm drafting at 12, I'm getting one of them.
You're getting one of them. If you didn't window dress your board.
If you don't window dress your board, and you do what you're supposed to do in free agency and all that, Bryan, even if whether it's wide receiver, running back, got a tight end up, no matter what it is, I feel real good about the dude that I'm getting at 12th overall.
Right.
That's why it's important. So I just kind of wanted to lay that out to you.
Yeah.
If you drafted at 18, you got 15 first round grades, you might hate you know what I'm saying? You might hate your guy.
Right.
You might be wishing that you lost more games or whatnot. But if I'm just running down my list, okay, we 12th overall. You name 12 guys. Man, I feel real good if I get this guy. You know what I'm saying? So that's why that's important. So the first name that we have today, Bryan Broaddus.
Well, I want to say something too.
Hell yeah.
In doing this since 1992.
Yes, sir.
with the Packers and then, with the Eagles, Jacksonville, and then the Cowboys. It was always that way. We never, ever came up with 32 names. Mm-hmm. We never did. Sure. Sometimes we'd come up with, like you said, 15 names. Yeah. Sometimes we'd come up with 21 names, 22 names. So it was never like completely get 32 filled out that way. Mm-hmm. But these are, if you do this the right way, you can make sure that if you, again, don't window dress your board and you're saying that top 15, you're likely to grab one of those players. Now you're probably looking at guys. And when you do the stack and you mentioned C.J. Allen, if you have 15 names, C.J. Allen might be player 16, player 17, player 18, just depending on how high you want to put these particular players. But I have never been a part of a draft where we had 32 first-round grades. I've never been a part of that.
I tell you what, Bryan Broaddus, David Bailey.
Yeah.
David Bailey, the edge from old Texas Tech, Brian.
Yeah.
He damn sure going to be one of your first-round grades.
He will be.
That dude's phenomenal, Brian.
He is.
16 sacks, 29 hits, 60 pressures. Just this year.
Yeah.
Who you think you talking to? Yeah. Who the hell y'all think y'all talking to? And look, he may be good and gone by the time the Cowboys get there. But teams suck at drafting, Brian. You never know.
Heard that yesterday in your post-game show.
I'm damn straight. David Bailey is probably going to be a stand-up rusher type guy.
Yes, he is.
He's going to have the measurables that the NFL wants.
Yeah.
He's a bendy, explosive dude, Brian.
There you go.
He hits that corner. He knows how to sack dudes. Think about what we thought about Donovan Ezeraku last year.
Sure.
Just a dude that just knows how to sack the quarterback.
Right.
I think David Bailey does it a little more easier than him.
Yeah.
I watched Kansas, Houston. I watched the playoff games. I watched some Arizona State too, Bryan Broaddus.
Yeah.
Athletic pass rusher, bendy, good hands in there, Brian. You know what I'm saying? He's not one of those lean on my skill and athleticism and just run around you or run down the middle of you. You actually see him working the hands. There's another pass rusher. There's actually two of them that's in his top list that I think got better usage in hands and tools than him. But he kind of got this, I'm going to take the outside. I'm either going to attack your outside hand to do it.
Right.
I'm simply going to just rush you and do it. I may fake up and get under your hands and do it. And he flattens so easily, bro.
Right.
He flattens. We always talk, every year there's pass rushers that you have the tools to get to the backfield, but you probably don't finish all that well.
Right.
David Bailey makes the offense get rid of the ball quicker. He makes them do it. And he still finishes, Bryan Broaddus. I think there can be some run game improvement. I don't think he's bad in the run. I don't think he's you got to take him off the field because he's a liability or whatnot. If he's a standing linebacker, he deals with the run game like a linebacker does. But he doesn't deal with the run game like a hand-down defensive end does, right? Think about Reuben Bain and how he deals with the run game. He's standing people up. He's looking around. He's disengaging. He's going to go find the football. Right. David Bailey just kind of, I'm standing. I'm just going to run to the football. I think some coach is going to get hands-on, be like, hey, when you do this, do this, do this. But what is coaching for, Brian? It's nothing that'll make me go away from him. I think David Bailey's fantastic. First-round grade on my board, and I think there's a conversation on whether he's the best edge in his class.
Yeah, I don't. I like what you're doing there. I personally have Bain over him right now. But this is, I know the discussion you and I had about Bain was the bendy one. But this is the guy that is the bendy one. If you wanted just the way you watch him play at 6'3", 250 pounds. NFL teams might think he's a little light for the position, but man, I am totally on board with this guy right now. You talk about the explosiveness. This guy, by the way, transferred from Stanford to play out of Texas Tech, but he's got all the pass rush moves. He could swipe you, he could rip you, he could spin you. He frees himself. We talked about the bend. He puts a lot of pressure on the blocker with the ability to attack the corner. You walked us through all that. The thing that he might get in a little bit of trouble at is when he gets tall and tries to fight the blockers that way. That could be a little bit of a problem for him. And there's snaps where you see it, as you mentioned, where he struggles to set that edge. But, man, I'll tell you what, though, he's got that twitchy element to his game and the first step explosiveness, the quickness. He can cover ground. I mean, there's just so much to like about his game and the way that he plays. The games you watched are really good examples. When you get that chance to see it, if you're out there wanting to study some games, Voch gave you some great games to look at because this guy does make a lot of plays for a guy that's put in position to make plays.
I got 2 more points, and this is something I'm going to do throughout the year, Brian.
Yeah.
I'm real big into matchups now.
Yeah.
Real big into matchups. And our guy that we're going to talk about later, Spencer Fano.
Yeah.
He gave him some business, Brian.
He did.
I knew gave him some business.
He sure did.
I think something that I want to bring to Crown Global that I haven't done all, and it's just going to take a little extra work on my part, but fine, cool. I want to find these matchups.
Oh, yeah.
I want to find these matchups and talk about some of the player versus player stuff.
Right.
I want to talk about some of the big games that, they were in, right?
Right.
And, David Bailey's kind of been cool all year, but versus some of these opponents, kind of goes away a little bit. I don't want to mark him as a guy that goes away, but that's just what's on film. You know what I'm saying? When, versus Utah, man, it was just whatever. But that's just something to keep an eye on. I think I got Bain over him, Brian, because I think you don't have to take Bain off the field at all.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Plus, he can give you those pass rush looks also.
Right.
He's not going to be as natural of a pass rusher as Bailey, but Bain can rush hand in the ground. He can rush standing up. Right. I think when he gets to the lead, somebody's going to rush him from B gap. Plus, you don't have to worry about him in the run game at all.
Right.
Bailey kind of got that. Okay, well, we know that you're a good pass rush guy. We may rotate you in early. I think Bain, fresh off the pack, you open the box, he's ready to play for you right now. Bain may take a year or two to where he may have a down year. You kind of understand?
Yeah, I totally agree with what you're saying right there. You mentioned about having Bain from Miami over this particular player. I think that Bain has got more to his game when it comes to playing the run. Now, the thing we talk about our show, we try to kind of talk about these players like if you're the Commanders or if you're the Giants or Eagles, whoever, and you can look at the players this way. For a fit for the Dallas Cowboys, you're probably maybe looking at Bailey over Bain. If you because you've got guys that you feel like that you can play the run with.
And a lot of tackles, too.
Yeah, a lot, yeah. And so to me, maybe Bailey fits better for somebody that's looking for a guy that we talked about that's really bendy and can get off the ball the way that he does. But I like the way that this guy plays. I think there's some things about him that when you watch him, you're like against some of the better competition. There's some good, there's some bad. You mentioned that bowl game that he played in against Oregon. He had a hell of a game playing. He was really, really active in that game. Tech needed him to be active, and he surely was. We're going to probably talk about too. They have a player on the opposite side. Height is another guy. So there's you're going to get when you watch Tech film. There's going to be two. You got to kind of keep your eyes on two guys that can really, really get after the passer, and this David Bailey is really one of them as well.
We're definitely going to talk about Melo Height at some point, Brian. If you would, Brian, talk to us about the wide receiver from USC, Makai Lemon.
Yeah, the thing with Makai Lemon, and these are the kinds of wide receivers that fit my eye. And I know you like to use that term. Sure. And I understand the 6'3" guy that's 205 pounds. I appreciate that guy. I'm becoming to appreciate the guy that's 5'11", 195 a little bit more.
That runs the routes, get open.
Yeah. I mean, this when it's all said and done, this guy Makai Lemon might have the best hands in the draft when the receivers. And I felt like already, Voch, that I've looked at far too many receivers here, and they're all quality receivers. But this guy is a strong-handed. Like I said, I feel like he's got the perfect height and weight for the position. He's like a running back build with the ball in his hands, and he plays that way. He's a nightmare for defenders to have to deal with after the catch. He takes simple pass plays and turns them into really, really large gains. He plays in the slot. He plays on the outside. He's got toughness. He knows how to play in space. He's got tackle breaking ability with ball in hand. He's a clutch player. He'll work the middle of the field without any regard for his body. He's more willing to do the dirty work and what it takes to get that job done. I've seen him play well in the short, intermediate areas of the game. And like I say, I see a fearless player between the hashes. And I think he's a much better player, though, when he has that free access and routes. He doesn't have the initial burst that you might like. He's more of a kind of a build-up speed guy. But his toughness, his ability to snatch the ball is super impressive. And I'm USC has put some other wide receivers in this draft. When you go back with Jordan Addison, you go back Amon St. Brown, and how those guys run after catch, ball in hand, run. This guy, though, is built like that running back like I talk about. So you're going to see him. You're going to see him catch a lot of passes. I've got this guy as my second receiver on the board is what I have. And I love Tyson, and I'm sure we'll get into him at Arizona State. But this guy right here, he, as you say a lot, he fits my eye with the body type. He fits my eye with the way he's able to play with some physicality.
Brian, he makes a lot of catches. I don't know USC's quarterback. I'm only responsible for my draft guys, and I just go down the board. But the USC quarterback threw some weird passes at him sometimes, and Lemon just catches them all. Like, he makes a lot of catches kind of falling sideways, and he'll, track the ball perfectly and catch them. He's a surprisingly good red zone guy. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. If you just kind of look at some of the touchdowns that he caught. Sometimes he's double cover. Sometimes he'll find just a little bit of space. Some receivers need the ball right here.
Right.
And he'll catch them jump backwards.
They call the radius. Catch radius.
But see, I don't want to use catch radius because some of these other guys got it. Yeah. Some of these other guys got some damn. We're gonna talk about we got 3 receivers all week, so we got a Monday guy, a Wednesday guy, and a Friday guy.
Yeah.
But Lemon, Brian, you broke him down perfectly. Route runner, finds the open zone. All these wide receivers not going to be able to find open zones.
Right.
I want to be able to talk about that right now.
Right.
Some of these wide receivers kind of got a one-trick thing that they good at. I think Lemon can do a little bit of everything, Brian. Great hands. I think he's bad throw proof. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Catches it all. And I'm a big yak dude, Brian.
Yeah.
I'm a big yak dude. I like Lemon. He's also my wide receiver too. I got Tyson over him. We're gonna talk about Tyson on Wednesday or something. Mm-hmm. Tate's my third guy. We're gonna talk about him Friday. Yeah. But the one thing that makes me put Tyson and Lemon over Tate in Boston, I got Boston in the second round.
Yeah, Boston's a good player too. Washington,
good player. I just like my guys. I want to know that you can separate on the next level.
Right.
I want to see how you separate. You may be the George Pickens just throw it up to me guy.
Right.
You may be that guy.
Yeah.
I don't trust that all the time.
Yeah.
If you could pull it off in the league, then fine. I'm gonna cap all my analysis of guys like that. Like, oh man, he
Has that changed for you though? Like now that you've been doing this a long time, have you always been about the yak guy, or is it just now because you're seeing it so much with the way that these receivers are playing in the league?
I think my favorite receivers, and I think it's always been this way. Actually, no. I used to like the big physical guys because I was a Dez Bryant fan.
Sure.
I was like, man, find me the next Dez Bryant. And then there was a big time where we didn't get those guys for real. You got 2 of them in just this top 4 here.
Yeah.
Top 5 or whatever, right? But I've grown to value the guys when I'm breaking down wide receivers. No matter who the quarterback is, can you win with them?
Right.
No matter who your quarterback, if your quarterback is Shedeur Sanders, you need somebody that's going to break wide the hell open with routes.
Yeah.
Somebody that's going to be where they need to be, and somebody that can get yards after the catch. Because we might be in an offense where I may be one read checking down.
Yeah.
I might be one read checking down guy. If you have the luxury of going to an offense with Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, one of the great quarterbacks in this league, then maybe some of these guys to where, man, I'll throw the ball in a perfect place. And I know he'll go up and catch it because he's physically imposing. But how many quarterbacks are that, though? How many quarterbacks can do that for you? So that's where it gets weird. You know what I'm saying? If you got a Jalen Hurts or something, and Jalen Hurts is he's gonna prefer some of these guys than some of those other
bad
guys.
Ball catchers.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I want the dude that can catch the weird stuff, that's gonna break wide the hell open. And if you throw me a 5-yard pass, I turn it into 20-something. Those are the dudes I tend to value more. Now, to be fair, Tate can go to the Chiefs. He can rob a bank and end up in the back of the Chiefs drafted, 12 or something?
9.
Nine, we drafted. So if he ends up with the Chiefs and Pat comes back perfect, then Tate is now the best receiver in his draft.
Right.
Because he has a guy that can put the ball away from a DB in a certain nuanced particular place, and he'll go up and catch and bring it down.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about most of quarterbacks, which are young guys.
Lemon make a quarterback in the league better?
Hell yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, he does. Because he can turn a 5-yard pass in the 15.
Yeah.
Jackson and Jigba the best receiver in the league right now.
Yeah.
He's that kind of guy.
Yeah.
And I kind of thought about him, but I thought, Jackson was a bit of a yak guy, but this guy, full-blown yak guy. And he got some down-the-field stuff to him as well, Brian. I think he's in that similar type mode to where, man, you got Sam Darnold, but it's okay. Because I got a dude that can run routes and get you a little extra. Yeah. So I like Lemon in that way, Brian.
Yeah, I do too. I just, like I said, I don't feel like I've been burned by the big receiver. I just don't feel like, it's, you're right. The Dez Bryants, those guys that are the just physically, I think Ole Miss had all those guys, had a run of all those guys. And we were trying to go through them, and then next thing you know, they're all kind of just not, I've come to the point now where the run after the catch. Yeah. It's the win. That's the win right there.
That's the way.
Yeah.
Brian, I mentioned him earlier, Spencer Fano. The right tackle from Utah.
Yeah.
Some guys got him as their best offensive lineman on the board. We already talked about the best offensive lineman last week.
Yeah.
Mawanoa from Miami.
Yeah.
I went back and watched some more Mawanoa from Miami, by the way, boy.
Yeah.
He's the boy. Yeah. All right. Yeah. But Spencer Fano.
Yeah.
With the context of, I'm just kind of watching him and getting a good feel for him. And at some point, we're going to talk about why I think he's better than the left tackle. But Spencer Fano, the right tackle from Utah, athletic as all get out.
Right.
I think he's athletic enough to perform whatever block you ask him to perform. So I think he's going to go to some scheme that wants him to get out in the open. There's going to be a pin and pull guy. There's going to be a second level blocker, screen dude.
Dallas ran the ball that way, doing a little pin and pull and stuff yesterday. I mean, they did some short pulls, traps.
Yes, sir. I think Fano is perfect for that type of scheme. I think in the passing game, he gets to his landmark really well. Active feet, they stay moving, solid knee bend, hands are always in the right place. Seems to be a bit of a technician. I want to see. I don't want to say I want to see more from him as a technician because I just love technique, and some of these other guys don't really have it. There's one offensive line we're gonna talk about later, like Friday or something. They got technique that I just love, but Fano got enough technique to get him through some of these exchanges.
Right.
Here's my issue: he's a little bitty.
Oh yeah,
he's a little bitty tackle.
He's a little bitty tackle.
What about 6'5" or something?
He's 6'6", 308.
308 gets me. Tall is you ain't big man, you tall man.
Yeah,
which is different. People call him big man his whole life. He ain't big man. Mawanoa is big man.
Yeah.
Proctor's big man.
Yeah.
Spencer Fano is tall man.
Right.
And I think you can see his lack of bulk sometimes.
Yeah.
And you can see the lack of power sometimes.
Yeah.
Now, Brian, something that really gets him out of these situations is that he's always in the right place.
Well, you got him nailed right there.
Because the movement is there.
You're right about that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So he can move, be in the right place, and kind of get on his tippy toes sometimes.
Oh, no, he's rarely out of position because of his feet.
But he's right there.
He is right there.
But he'll get pushed around a little bit. If you put him in a run scheme where he has to fire off the football and block some big dude by himself, I don't think he excels there.
Yeah.
As long as he's comboing, as long as he's dealing with an edge or something like that, or he's climbing, I think he's good to go. Like I said, he put hands all over Bailey when they played.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But that could be because Bailey's good foot speed guy.
Yeah.
Fano matched that with good foot speed guy.
Yeah.
I would love to see what Fano versus Ruben Bain look like. Yeah. Bain might run down the middle and beat the shit out of him. I don't know.
Yeah.
But Fano, what makes him my second offensive tackle, this is another thing we're going to do, Brian. As I talk y'all through my board, I'm going to tell y'all why he's my first, second, or just whoever's around him.
Right.
I got Fano as my second guy because I think Mawanoa's size and power can put him in any scheme.
Right.
I think Fano is going to excel as a open field, pin and pull, athletic, outside zone guy.
Right.
But he's good to go. I like him. A good player, first round player.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. This is a fluid, flexible athlete, and the body control, the balance, everything you described. It's rare you see him on the ground. I think he's actually pretty good run blocker. And I say he's a good run blocker because of his ability to use his feet to stay in position. Yeah. You're right. He could get a little wonky with the way that things kind of like he'll get knocked around a little bit because I don't think he has really the ideal mass or size. But what happens is he recovers. And that's the thing that makes him really kind of a special in this way. But he could easily work from the level, the first level, second level. That's not a problem. The angles, the leverage. I think that you've got you're talking about a guy that makes those tough blocks appear very easy because of the footwork. It's wide techniques, inside techniques, the scoops, the reaches, the things like that.
Reaching the backside three is the toughest block in football.
This guy, head across and all that. So, yeah, absolutely. I do Malinois, I have over him, and again, it's a preference to me. And I think I think that you could play him at a couple. I think Malinois could play left tackle. I know we talked about that the other day. But I like a little bit more of the power, the bulk, the size. I think that's a little bit more important. But if you're one of those teams that wants to play in space, outside zone, you mentioned it, this guy's a perfect fit for you.
Love him. How about this? Let me just run this back down real fast, and let's just see something. If Bailey's there for the Cowboys, of course you take him, but I don't think he's going to be there.
Yeah.
You think Makai Lemon can be there at 12? And if you just take care of business in free agency, you knock it out the park, you bring back Pickens, Lemon's the best player on your board. Do you lean on Flo, or do you push Flo down the depth chart?
I think in this case, they're probably, my gut would be that they lean.
They're going to go defense.
They're going to go defense. Now, if you play your cards right,
sure,
and we get into a situation where if it turns into tag Pickens and bottom fish,
sure, yeah,
there's no flexibility. I can't take any of these offensive players. I can't look at the Miami tackle.
Yeah.
I can't look at the Utah tackle. Yeah. I can't look at the USC wide receiver. I can't do any of that stuff because I've kind of painted myself into a corner where, whoa, wait a minute now. I've got to talk about taking Bailey here. I've got to take. I have to talk about taking Bain. Not bad options. Sure. You and I also talked about this the other day, and I believe this could very well happen. Grabbing a edge at 12 and then praying one of those corners drops to you at 20. And in history,
I think they'll be there.
And history will tell you that can happen.
Yeah.
History, that if you don't do anything in free agency and you don't do anything, as far as in that, you're probably looking at drafting an edge and then drafting a corner.
Do you think the Cowboys shoot the dice on it and say, all right, we'll go heavy at edge, money wise,
right?
Man, we'll go heavy at linebacker or something,
right?
But we're gonna walk into the draft going, one of those corners gonna be there at 20 something, whether that be McCoy, Delane, Hood, or Terrell, one of them gonna be there.
Right.
And maybe they don't go money-wise. Maybe they don't go heavy at corner. And their plan for the future is, all right, we're going to go into this thing with Revel, Deron Bland, and some rookie corner. We just going to go.
Yeah.
I think they end up.
To me, the one thing that we've also kind of learned is your most expensive positions are the edges.
Pass rusher,
the edge and the pass rusher. So do you want to, if Dallas is smart – then it's going to have to be, see if you can address the safety, the linebacker, with free agency money, and then figure out though, like, okay, which one of these corners. You might be in a situation, though, Voch, and strategy when we get into it, when we've got a lot of weeks before that. But right now, strategy wise, what you might want to think about is that if several of those corners are moved, if they've all kind of moved down the board, and say McCoy from Tennessee, because of the knee, gets pushed down, you might be able to talk about trading back at 20 and recouping some of those picks. Me personally, I think your pick at 12 would be more valuable if you want to trade it back, depending on how far back you want to go, and can you still grab one of these edges? Whether, we'll get into Howell and other guys like that. There might be a pocket of corners. There might be a pocket of edges that you can surely move back a few spots. I'm not talking about massive drops. I'm just talking about a few spots. Try and recoup a 3. Try and recoup a 2. If you can, to make this work.
When the Cowboys moved back, help me out, Brian, when they were at 10 and they moved back to 12, the Eagles took Devontae Smith. Yeah. Michael was at 12. What pick did they get back, the Cowboys, when they moved just back from 10 to 12? Yeah. I know they got a 3 when they moved back for
the Lions pick. Yeah. The Lions did that and the Lions was a big overpay there too.
They overpaid.
Yeah, there was a big overpay for the Lions. The Lions, they coveted Tyrion Arnold more than anything in that draft, and so they were obviously able to move that back. And if I remember correctly, I think it was a 4 that they got back.
They got pick number 84. So the same thing.
Yeah.
Trading from 10 to 12 got them a 3. And
a 3.
Of course, trading back from what was that, 20.
So that was a late 3 there that they got. Yeah,
late 3. Yeah.
So that might be, like
it depends. It depends on because look, if you got 15 first round grades, you don't go back to 18.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
No.
Keep it in your first round grade. If
try and stay in that window. Try and stay in that window if you can. But some of these times, maybe you have a pocket of players where you have. And we're about to get into these corners. I mean, full on. I know we're going to talk about Delane here from LSU. Yep. And so now are you in a situation where there's several edges you like? I'll never forget, with Mo Cawthon, with the whole running back situation. Steven Jackson was on the board, and Mo's up there and telling us, that, hey, these runners are just the same as Steven Jackson. And then once Bill and Jerry heard that, then we took Buffalo's next year's one, and so it depending on how you like the group of players and how far you're willing to go back, and and a lot of it is who is around you too when you're trading back.
Oh yeah,
you got to worry about teams. Like you got to know where you're trading back to, and then be able to kind of understand that. Okay, what are the teams around that pick? What are they looking at?
Sure.
What are their team needs? You don't want to trade into something where all of a sudden you trade in, you're thinking you're going to grab a corner, then and we had it happen. We had it happen again with Parcells in the 2005 draft. Sure. We traded. We traded. We were waiting on to draft Marcus Spears, but all of a sudden all these defensive ends started going off the board. Mm-hmm. And so now you're in there just kind of hanging on and hoping they don't take your guy.
Yeah. Brian, why don't you tell us about your LSU corner, Mansoor
Delane. And he's a transfer from Virginia Tech, and he was the best defensive player that LSU had this year. And LSU was a 7-win team, but this young man was outstanding. He's a very accomplished cornerback, and he's 6 foot, he's 190 pounds. He is everything that Mo Claiborne wishes he was. That's how, I know Cowboy fans are like, whoa, LSU guy, Broaddus, you're going to be, you're going to pump this guy up. No, this guy's a legitimate, this is a big-time football player. And you can see him at left corner, you can see him at right corner. I don't think there's not an assignment he can't handle. Yep. He's a sticky man cover corner. He thrives in the physical side of the game. It's impressive with the way he carries routes. Voch, you know me. I love corners that carry routes inside, up the field, intermediate. It doesn't matter. He's super flexible. He's bendy in the way he moves. He's smooth moving. He's impressive quickness. He's got balance. He's just as good running forward as he is going back. He's got vision. He's got awareness. It's hard for receivers to get away from this guy. And he's not grabby. We see a lot of these corners, the way they defend, and they're grabby and they hold on. They don't trust their technique. This guy, he is all about that. He just has a feel for how to stay in phase. There's no panic in the way he plays. He can locate the ball. He makes a play on it. He's got a high football IQ. He's not afraid to get his nose dirty and tackle. He's more willing for the position. He will be an idea for a team who plays a ton of man coverage. He made a couple of game-saving plays against Clemson and South Carolina this year on fourth down, where and I felt like though as opponents were going along in the season, they started attacking him less and less because of his ability to play. So yeah, when you attack this guy, do it at your own risk. I've got him in the second best corner in the draft right now. I have McCoy from Tennessee as my number one. But man, I'll tell you what, somebody is going to get them potentially an all-pro player in Mansoor Delane from LSU.
Let me just break down his peer for a second, him and his peer.
Yeah.
Delane and McCoy.
Yeah.
Brian, I think they're both good enough to do either assignment, right? Whether it's man, zone, whatever. Here's where I think that they're kind of different. I think McCoy is so athletic.
Yeah.
I think he's a much better man dude.
Right.
But he can do zone.
Right.
He's smart too. He can do zone. Delane is so smart.
Yeah.
He's so smart, Brian.
You're right.
I think he can also do both.
Yeah.
But man, I'm just watching him play zone some of these times, Brian. He's not like a gambly peaky dude.
No, not at all.
He don't gamble and peek. That's another one of these cats. Terrell peeking and gambling and shit. I was shooting dice on the field. He began. But Brian, Delane don't gamble.
Yeah.
He's comfortable in that.
Yeah.
He's comfortable enough to look and see what the quarterback doing back there and break and play. You know what I'm saying? I understand zone coverage more than I ever have in my life because I've seen Flus just tear it up in Dallas now.
You've seen it too much for yourself?
I've seen it so much, I just understand it a little better.
Yeah. 7 yards drive.
Brian, I think, you know how they say Cowboys can't sign Flores because he needs smart corners to come in and da-da-da. Yeah. He don't like rookies. Yeah. He needs smart corners. I bet you this dude can play for Brian Flores right now.
Right now.
He's so smart. You see him pass guys along.
Yeah.
You see him diagnosing route combos and I know you coming at me. Let me you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right.
Brian, he got a perfect feel for it. I think he could be the first corner off the board. I think some teams could look at McCoy's injury or whatever.
Because the health, right?
You know what I'm saying? I think some teams, you know what I mean? But health aside, I think McCoy's better.
Yeah.
I think McCoy is the top 10 guy. Delane might be the 11th best player, something like that, Brian. I don't know, but Delane right there with him. He could press man. He can carry. I don't think they asked him to play in the slot too much, but I did see him follow some people.
Right.
I did see him follow some people around. What game was that I was watching where I saw Delane? I saw
Mississippi, Florida.
He beat the shit out of Clemson, Brian.
Yeah, Clemson.
He beat the
shit. Yeah.
Clemson, Bama, Arkansas, TAMU, Texas A&M.
Yeah.
Beat the hell out of Clemson, Bryan Broaddus. And it may be a cat that ran over to the other side, and Delane just went over there with him, smoked the hell out of him, Brian. I'm a fan.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of this dude. And like I said, my whole theory that I brought up to you the other day, no matter who the best corner is, no matter how much we like him, Tyrion Arnold, Quinyon Mitchell, we all looked at these guys as Joey Porter Jr. We all looked at these guys as great corners, possibly best corner in the draft. For some reason, they get to the 20s.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, these great corners get to the 20s. Maybe teams just value pass rush and just blockers a little more nowadays. Brian, they better not let either one of these corners fall to 20.
Yeah.
Because you get a hell of a haul if you take best player available at 12 and come back and get either one of these guys at 20, whatever. Or 19 if Green Bay shit the bed because Micah ain't playing.
Yeah.
Or 20 overall or whatever because of the South team. Brian, I think if you get either one of these corners, I'm celebrating.
Yeah, the thing that I believe that you're going to be absolutely right about, and we'll see how. The fact is, McCoy from Tennessee was hurt in January. We're going now almost on a year. Well, a year since his injury. Yeah. So we should have good news, good recovery news, all those things. I don't think there's going to be many questions. But I totally agree with you. There's a possibility that Delane will be taken ahead of McCoy just because of the injury stuff.
Yeah.
And you know what? I don't think I would have a problem with that.
It's cool.
I don't think I would have a problem with that because, as you said, I would take either one of these. And if you're a fan of another team, you would take McCoy or you would take Delane. Both these kinds of these kinds of players I don't think come along very often, though, especially with the way that they play corner. So if you're a fan of another team, you should want these guys. The Cowboys, you're a fan of the Cowboys, you should absolutely want either one of these guys. I think these are huge upgrades to what you're playing with.
Just for context, Bryan, 2025 draft, Travis Hunter don't count because he played both positions. He's a different. I
list him as a receiver.
He's a different type of character. But the next best corner was Jahdae Barron that we loved.
Yeah,
they drafted him at 20, Bryan.
Yeah,
2024. I'm just kind of looking around at where the hell corner didn't go early at all. The first corner, Quinyon Mitchell, went 22nd. Terry Arnold went 24.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? I don't know what it is. You know what I mean? I would love to get to the bottom of it, but this ain't just me because some people be like, "Oh, Voch, you optimistic." You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I think corners fall.
Yeah,
really good corners. fall.
That's a good question when we bring guys on for some of our shows, some of the guests and stuff that we might have. I know that I want to. There's some people I'd like to talk to about that particular because I just wonder. I think you're onto something, and I don't have a really good handle why that's the case.
Yeah.
Stingley
went early. He went 3rd overall.
Yeah, the Texans, yeah.
And the past couple years, though, they've been falling.
And what's funny about that Stingley one from LSU? He was in and out of games.
Yeah.
He was injured. He was like, I'm going to play. No, I'm not going to play. Texans took a real gamble on talent for that one because he was not one of these guys that lined up and played a bunch of games for you.
Kyrie Elam went 23rd overall in the 2022 draft. Yeah. Hey, so be careful. All right? Yeah. Be careful. Bryan, fantastic day talking draft.
Thank you, man. Appreciate that. Good
stuff.
You.
Everybody listening, we're going to have some more players on Wednesday and Friday, so make sure that you don't miss shows. If you disagree about anything that me and Bryan said, how we have the players stacked on the board, any opinion that we thought about them, if you think that Delane is better than whoever in man, whatever y'all got a thought.
Heck, they might have some of the other corners. They might have a Clemson guy up there too. Yeah. You never know.
You know what I'm saying? Y'all may think that Fano is the best tackle. Whatever it is, whatever the feedback is, you're probably wrong. But go in the comments. I'm playing. Go in the comments and let us know. And me and Bryan will be looking over it and chatting with y'all. So appreciate you. Go to crownglobalmedia.com and be sure to tap in with all of the work there. Like I said, on Tuesdays and Thursdays, the stack with Aisha Morrison, Zach Woodchuck, and Bryan's gonna be leading that off. Y'all be sure to tap in with that. And I think that's it. If you want to tap in with Bryan, it's Crown Global Media on Twitter because we ain't got Bryan Broaddus fixed yet. And I'm Voch Lombardi over there. We'll catch y'all next time. Don't forget to watch the shorts because we be recording those separately. So y'all be sure you watch them. All right? Crown.